Bloomberg News, Michael Bloomberg's news organization, obviously, clearly he took some time to name that. They made an announcement that was bizarre. They announced that they're not going to cover Michael Bloomberg critically now that he's in the Democrat race. They said they're not going to cover any of the Democrats in the race critically. Wait, what? But that's what they did. And you can understand they would have a bit of a conflict of interest there. So essentially, they washed their hands of any of it. Now, what I would say to Bloomberg News, wouldn't the smarter move have been just move forward doing that without announcing that you're doing that? There are so many things in life that you should do, but not necessarily announce to everybody that you're doing. Yes, honey, I realize you burnt dinner to a crisp. It's really good. And then at some point in time, I'm going to get up after I take some fake bites and maybe she's messing with the kids and I'll kind of walk over to the trash can and just kind of slip her on in there and maybe step out, run to the gas station real quick for a burger. What I don't do is stand up and say, boy, this was gutter trash. I'm tossing it. Hope you don't mind. There are things you should just do without announcing you're doing. And of course, since Bloomberg News was stupid enough to announce that they're actually doing that, well, you didn't think that was going to get by President Donald Trump or his campaign staff. President Trump went to Twitter right away and said, quote, Mini Mike Bloomberg has instructed his third-rate news organization not to investigate him or any Democrat, but to go after President Trump only. The failing New York Times thinks that is okay because their hatred and bias is so great they can't even see straight. It's not okay. He puts, and of course he had to put the exclamation point there. Well, Bloomberg News responded. Their editor John Micklethwaite, on my life, I'm not making that up. Editor John Micklethwaite said, and I quote, "The accusation of bias couldn't be further from the truth. We have covered Donald Trump fairly and in an unbiased way since he became the candidate, and will continue to do so. So despite the restrictions imposed by the Trump campaign, I basically screwed up the entire reading of that. Whatever. That's why we put up the full screen so you can read it yourself. I went to community college. Well, Trump campaign manager Brad Parscale said, quote, since they have declared their bias openly, the Trump campaign will no longer credential representatives of Bloomberg News for rallies or other campaign events. We will determine whether to engage with individual reporters or answer inquiries from Bloomberg News on a case-by-case basis. This will remain the policy of the Trump campaign until Bloomberg News publicly rescinds its decision. Now, what do you make of all this? Well, here's what you make of all of it. Obviously, the Trump campaign said, well, you're not getting credentials anymore. Sorry. Press credentials, for those of you who don't realize it, are a pretty big deal. It gets you backstage access. It gets you, at all those Trump rallies, he'll show up at a stadium, okay? He's in a basketball stadium. Picture that. And everybody's lined up on the floor, and then people are lined up in the stands, and they are an event. I've been to one before. If you haven't been to one, I highly recommend it. Well, 100 feet, 200 feet, depending on the venue, away from the stadium. Trump's standing here, away from the stadium. There's this gigantic platform that rises up above all the people, and that's where he puts all the press. That's where all the cameras are, the reporters are. All of them. MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, all of them. Everybody's there. We're there. Everybody's there. That's where you stand. Well, when you see him pointing, it always looks like he's pointing up or basically even with his eyes. That's because they are even with these eyes. Whatever, that's a little too inside baseball. The point of it is you need press credentials to stand on that stage. If you don't get press credentials to stand on that stage, you're not going to get the video you want. You're not going to get the access you want. It is going to bother Bloomberg News. It is a nice move. It is a nice shot back at them. Now, what do you make of it? I'm not asking you to give a crap about Bloomberg News. I don't give a crap about Bloomberg News. What you should take from this is Donald Trump is teaching the Republican Party a valuable lesson. Hit back. Always hit back. It is important to do so. It is important to treat the media like what they are. You don't have to go full, the media is the enemy of the people. You can if you want to. But what you must do, it is important for you to constantly drive home to the public that the media is not the media. They're not news media. They are the communication wing of the Democrat Party. That's why all the coverage is slanted that way. We know for a fact over 90% of the people in newsrooms and the production staff are Democrats. That just is kind of the way it works. So stop treating them like the media. And sadly, that's how so many Republicans go to Washington, D.C. and lose their way. We've all seen it time and time again. They'll campaign on, I won't let you down. I'll go to Washington and shake things up. I'll go to Washington and fight for you. And then, doesn't take long usually, a year or two, and they're meekly going up to the camera. Well, I mean, I really just think we should be more moderate on this issue. You guys like that, right? Does that get your approval? What happens is Republicans go to Washington, D.C., and they eventually wear down, and they get beaten down. And they're tired of walking from their congressional office to their car and getting hounded by reporters every day. Why are you a Nazi? Why are you the devil? And so they break because they're seeking the approval of people who are against them. It is the wrong mentality to take. I'm not saying you should walk out of your congressional office and push over any reporter you see, but you should walk out of your congressional office and look at all the reporters and think, oh, the Democrats are here. Because they are.